And speaking of women and weird cycles of history and fate, the European Council has this like kind of revolving circle of certain prizes it gives out to people for doing good stuff in the world. And one such prize is the Vaclav Havel Human Rights Prize. It's a great prize. Vaclav Havel is, of course, an iconic figure in European history. Speaking of the former USSR satellite states and post-communist regimes, he then became the first democratic president, I believe, of the Czech Republic. But he was just mainly this kind of iconic intellectual and politician at a time when the USSR was falling, the Berlin Wall, that major historic divide in Europe that propelled then the growth of the European Union happened. And even like for me, he's like an iconic voice of unification and a very important part of European history. So Václav Havel, Human Rights Prize. We love Havel. Czech Republic. And the Human Rights Prize has been given to Loujain al-Hathloul. And Loujain al-Hathloul is, of course, the leader, one of the leaders, and again, icons of the Women to Drive movement in Saudi Arabia, and just general kind of human rights movement for women in Saudi Arabia. She campaigned against the male guardianship system in Saudi, just like basic, the ability of women to just exist. She has since then been imprisoned and been subject to torture, according to her sister. And it is not a pretty sight. So the Saudi government basically thought that a woman driving a car was a terrorist, an act of terrorism. And they tortured her and they imprisoned her. She has been let go since then. But her sister, who accepted the prize on her behalf, told the Václav Havel Prize Committee that her sister could not only could she not be there because she's still being silenced by Saudi Arabia, and she couldn't speak out because there's a travel ban on her. That's pretty bad. We'll see what happens. I think, I know she has, and I hope like the support for her and women like her and the movement is undeterred and undiminished for all the madness of this Saudi Arabian logic on women. But I thought it was very poetic and very nice that she did receive the prize. I thought it was, it's heart-wrenching watching her sister receive the prize for her. But it also made me think about the way that we discuss and tokenize these things. Because this whole thing became pretty big, the media had to kind of write about it. Time magazine actually named Loujain as one of the 100 most influential people of 2019. This is a woman who got arrested for being an activist for driving a car. If she is so influential, and if this cause is so influential, and if women are so influential around the world, according to Time magazine, and if women are so important in all these states that are waging war at this moment in time on a lot of Middle Eastern countries and countries around the world, including Denmark, well then, I guess we're going to be invading Saudi Arabia anytime now, right? Yeah, of course not. Of course not. Because the influence isn't true. It's tokenism at its lowest and worst. Like, these, honors, 100 of the most influential people, whatever. And in a way, the same goes for the Vaclav Havel Human Rights Prize. Yeah, okay. But, like, what about those human rights? And why is it like a little prize that's kind of handed out as part of the a European Council initiative? This should be like a big thing. The way that Václav Havel managed to make it a big thing and became a true icon in politics and history. There just needs to be a little bit more hardened ability amongst European and world politicians to call a spade and say that this is unacceptable. Women should not be in prison anywhere for being women or for driving. And no matter what the interests are in terms of Saudi Arabia, this should just not be acceptable. And if you do find it acceptable as a state or as a legislation or as a government or administration, then just say you just don't care. Then you just call it what it is. We don't care. It doesn't matter. Loujain is not that important. What's important is money and influence and oil, and that's what's important. She's not important, and women are not important, and women are not important in Denmark. They're being victimized by racist aggression in Denmark. Just all these states, like, it's just the worst excuse in the world, and you hear it, like, from time to time, people still use it. I mean, Macron, when he, like, or France in general, the way that they're treating women in France right now is disgusting. And the ban on facial covering and just like even like going down to like how women are allowed to dress on the beach, like they're literally telling women how to dress because they're trying to save women from being part of a horrible Muslim system where men tell them what to do and how to dress. This is why the French government is telling women how to dress for years. Loujain, the most influential person, like one of the 100 most influential. I don't think she's that influential. I think the people with power and money are influential, and the racists are influential in Denmark right now, and they're hurting women. And I think it's also funny and so like ironically distasteful that like Václav Havel was at this like, you know, like at the helm of this freedom movement in Eastern Europe, and like his country is now like this disgusting viper's nest for nationalism and racism. And Loujain, like a lot of people in Czech Republic today would not be happy to have Loujain live in the Czech Republic because they have something real racist to say about her out of ignorance or whatever it is. Racist ignorance. It's like we never learn. We just never, ever learn. And in Europe, of all places, people should be crystal clear on the history because it's out there. Like, you leave your house, there's like a plaque here, a memorial there, like it's all like, this is where people got killed. Like, some guy said something racist, then he like bombed people here. Like, it's like basically Europe is the museum. Like, it's a lived-in, interactive museum for how not to live your life as a nation and how to be a better person and how not to kill people. But we don't learn.